how to go about rendering a garden wall or a flower pot, really any wall. Basically, great video for the first time guy doing sand and cement, and I'm going to cover every step and stage the whole way through this video. Here we are, and you have to start somewhere, and for rendering that is the scratch coat. Well, rendering new block, that is. Obviously if you're going over brick and stuff or old block, you might go down a different route, but this tutorial is all about the new block. And guys, if you want to be as good as myself at rendering or better, then definitely take on board my experience in doing this, or what you would say my knowledge, and make it your own. Tweak it to suit yourself. This particular job, every job is different. In this particular job, we seem to be using a very sharp sand. It's almost like a paving sand, and I am definitely struggling to apply it. So I would always recommend using nice, clean, washed plastering sand, because the better the materials, the better the job. But it's the sand we have, and it's the sand we're going to use. It was supplied for us. So again, you're going to want to probably know what the ratio is of the mix, what additives I've got in this mix, and basically the ratio is simple. It's 3 to 1. The walls are already wet as it was raining, and it's still been raining during this, and 3 to 1 might seem like a strong mix, but depending on your sand, obviously very coarse sand, it tends to dilute the cement a bit more. So 3 to 1 for the first coat, and I'll give the top coat in the next one. Look at the size of some of the stones in the sand. You can see I'm not impressed, but it is what it is. It is going to be strong when it sets. It's going to be solid, as it's got so many different size of particles, so it is going to lock in well. But basically, yes, I'm starting left to right here, and I'm scratching, and this one I am going to bead. So just scratching the whole bottom, and I'll lay a wee lick along the top, and then I will put my beads on and plumb them up as I go, making sure they all follow each other. But really guys, you do want to get your scratch coat on as neat and tidy as possible. And again, that's just so you're not scraping it down everywhere. You don't need to scrape it down for your top coat to go on. And like I always say, the neater you go at the start, the end will be neater as well. Here we are, giving it a good key up here, using a finer trowel and scratcher. So guys, really what this does is, this is the grip for the top coat in simple terms. We call it the key, the scratch coat. So just scoring it up really, and making sure my beads nice and stuck as well. Don't want to go too proud over the bead, as the sand is very coarse, and if I go too much over the bead, then it'll cause me issues as well when it comes to finishing. And don't forget to rub up the wee tap caps if you need to do them. Sorry guys, I meant to say key them up. Don't rub them up the same day, or you might knock your beads off. Sometimes if it's really warm weather, you could get away with maybe rubbing up the small reveals and stuff, and maybe the wee top bits, but with the sand being the way it is, and the beads set the way they are, don't want to disturb them too much. So once you get it all scratched guys, I'd recommend leaving it a day or two before you try and finish it off. And for the reason being, you want your scratch coat to be solid, and it'll actually improve the strength overall of the whole job if you give it a day or two between coats. And the next day is fine guys, even if it is a bit green, it still is good enough. But you can actually let it cure more, and then wet it down as well. So if you are doing it maybe every weekend or something, and you're maybe not getting good weather, you can just wet it down and go ahead. So nice wee easy panel to show you guys. Basically the next stages are your your 4-to-1 mix for your top coat here. We went 3-to-1 scratch coat and 4-to-1 top coat, and basically just coating it all, and then I'll get it straightened. And this is a nice handy area where I've got bead to bead. Did all my hard work setting the beads previously in the scratch coat, and now you get the pleasure of screeding off them. So you know your work's going to be nice and flat there and nice and plumb. So once you get it all straightened, fill in your slacks. We've got many videos on each one of these stages, broke down more and with even more detail than this video, so you're more than welcome to dive into the channel and really jump into certain factors onto each part of this, as it'll give you amazing detail on every stage that we are doing. Still picking out big stones here, even worse here on the top coat. We did actually bring some of our own plaster and sand to dilute the real core stuff. We diluted it by 50% with actual top of the range plaster and sand. I wouldn't have had enough, or couldn't have put enough in the back of the van. I would have broke some springs. Otherwise I'd have just brought half a ton with me and made sure. But it is what it is. It's still coming up really well. Something at least, probably a good 80% of the plasters wouldn't even know is that the bigger the grits in your sand cement, the quicker that it will dry. So you will have to get onto it quicker, and the reason for that is the moisture flows through it quicker, and comes out of it quicker. Where if it was like the likes of building sand, the moisture is locked in there for much longer. Even if you ask a bricklayer if he's built with plaster and sand and bricklaying sand, he'll tell you that the plaster and sand sets much faster, and the reason for that is it literally is just the particles in it, guys, that they're a bit bigger, so the water's getting released quicker. Whereas finer sand, it's more like clay, so it's more clumped together and it's holding it for longer. It's more studgy. But yes, the final part is to rub it all smooth, and then depending on how good you actually rub it, I do tend to finish with a sponge. Just find it just finishes everything up lovely and closes it in an extra wee bit more, and you get to run your eye around the entire job once more and make sure everything's perfect to your liking. So now we're on to the part, really this is the part you actually get paid for, which is the finish. But guys, you'll get more work for the actual quality of the whole job, as in how long it lasts. So every step and stage you've put in, your mix, your preparation, your beading, everything is going to be the make or break of the job, whether you're even happy with it or whether it's going to last for you. If you're doing it for yourself or if you're doing it for a customer, it needs to be right, guys. If it's not right, it might look right, but it might not be right, and it might fail. So really you do have to make sure all the stages beforehand, you've done them all to the best of your ability, and you've done them all right, the right mixes and the right methods. Everything that you've done, all preparation, all has to be right leading to this stage, because there's no point finishing it and it all gonna just fail. So you have to have things right before you even get to this stage. And again, I will pick on the mixes here a little bit. I've already given you the ratios, but I want to tell you what I added to the mixes here, and I'm going to explain why I added them, so you understand why I added them, and it'll help you pick what you want to mix in your render, and again why you want to mix it. So just onto the clip here, what we're doing now, and just rubbing it all smooth, filling in any wee holes that have happened from stones falling out and from the straight edge digging in slightly, and it does happen, guys, and it's okay. You can fill them in as you go, because again, like I said, this is all about the eye at this stage. Plastering is one of the oldest trades, guys. The tools that we still use are like the tools the ancient Egyptians used, and so forth. So it hasn't changed all that much on how it's actually finished. And again, if it doesn't look right at this stage, then it's definitely not right. What I mean by that is, if there's holes and dips and waves there's something wrong. You've maybe haven't straightened it right. You might need to fill them areas back in and run your straight edge across them again. Before you just go ahead and do that, you can actually put a wee straight edge on it and check and see to yourself, go, right, okay, that's why it's not rubbing so good here. It's because it's too heavy, or it's because there's a bump or a big hollow in it. So you can still rectify them at this stage. Thankfully, I've straightened this and it's not a massive wall and I have a nice bead to work to. All them things work to my advantage. Again, sometimes doing smaller walls down low, you're doing a lot of up and down crouching, and it's can be a wee bit sore on the back. But yeah, that is what it is. This is the job here. It's what we're doing. It's what we're paid to do, guys. Or like I said, if you're just doing this in your own garden and you're wanting to, have a nice garden, this is going to look really top class when it's all planted up and stuff, guys. It really is. So, if you want it to look good, you really have to pick on your work. But basically, after I get it all rubbed nice and smooth, like I was showing you there, I just give it a real nice sponge up. You can run the trowel over as well, guys, and then sponge it. I'm doing that in certain areas here, and just making sure that it's well closed in. Again, some of the grits were a wee bit problematic when rubbing. Found myself having to stop and pick a lot of them out and fill in. And again, just making sure I clean the bead. Do at the end run around and just give the bead a bit of a wash with the sponge, just to make sure that it's really nice and crisp and clean. But as promised, the additives in the mix. So in the scratch coat here, guys, I added a nice drink of SBR. And when I say that, now for every wheelbar full, it's probably 3 capfuls of SBR. There was 1 mortar mix and there was 1 waterproofer added in as well. So it was trying to make the stuff a bit safer, a bit stronger, and making sure I'm sticking to them blocks. Wasn't a great key in the blocks. There was still plenty of key in it, but with this sand, I was just wanting to double it up. Also with plastic beads, with the SBR in the mix, and it made me feel a wee bit safer. Again, in the top coat, I think I put 1 SBR in. You don't want to overdo your SBR on the top coat, as it will make it set quicker and it can make it that wee bit stickier. And then I did again 1 more cap of mortar mix and 1 more cap of waterproofer. Again, mortar mix is just plasticizer, guys. It's the brown liquid, and then the waterproofer, sometimes it's pink. I usually use the pink stuff, and it can also be like a gluey, like gloppy color. And then the SBR is white color, like a watery milk, but it's glue, and it turns blue kind of when it's painted on or in the water. But basically, guys, that's all the ingredients that I added in these mixes. And that if you just play it that way, I've had 0 problems with jobs that I've been doing. So if you play it that way and use my knowledge to your advantage, and you can tweak them mixes and stuff to your own suiting, your own liking, and you'll do no harm. But again, always test them things out before you actually go ahead and do somebody's house or something. When I say the cap, when I say I add a capful, I literally am talking about the lid that comes with the plasticizer and the SBR, that tiny little lid. So again, plasticizer, too much plasticizer will make the stuff really lovely and sticky and spreadable, and you'll not need much water. But the problem is, if you put too much in, it will kill the cement, guys. Again, with the SBR, if you put too much in, it actually might have a worse effect, whereas you're turning it more into a glue and it'll take a longer time to set. It sounds a bit strange, but I've made them wee mistakes myself, and again, that's coming from my mistakes to help you so you don't make them. And a little bit of SPR actually goes a long way. Even 1 capful will make your render so much better, so much stronger. What SPR does, guys, is it helps the render bond. Whether it's in the mix or painted on, it will help it bond to the wall. It'll make it more waterproof. It's used in tanking coats, guys. That's what it's designed for. So it is really a very good product that way. And the waterproofer, well, it does what it says. It stops the water penetrating the sand and cement. It helps repel it. Sand and cement is quite waterproof, especially when you're finishing it the way I am. You're making it a wee bit more waterproof, but with that little bit of added stuff in, you're making it repel the water that wee bit more. And then the other things you could add would be like frostproofer if it was really cold. Again, you shouldn't really be rendering if it is too cold, but frostproofer will set your render up that wee bit quicker again as well. And it comes out like a liquid. It looks like water really when you pour that out. Not sure what chemicals is in it to make the sand cement set quicker, but it does set it off a bit quicker. I think that's most of the ingredients you really would add to render. And again, the likes of this wall, you could make this wall look even better if you did acrylic on it and picked your colour. It would look real nice. The likes of the inside there, it's going to all be planted up so that this is going to look really, really nice. And there's going to be, I think there's going to be brick pavers down or flagstones and stuff down. So it's going to really, really be a nice place to sit in the summer. And you could definitely, if you're a DIY, you could definitely have a wee go at something small like this yourself. Give yourself a challenge and a test. Take your time. Like I say, there's plenty of videos on this channel, and I more or less answer every comment back. So you'll always have a bit of help on this channel for sure. And again, guys, if you're new to the render, you are a plasterer and you're sort of getting into the rendering, with all these videos, it's just really, it would be the big helping hand that you would maybe need and a bit of confidence booster you get. But let me know what I've missed, if I've missed anything in the comments below, guys, and for sure we'll make more of these in the coming days.
What we do in life echoes in eternity.